the mix during E3 in LA, and we're catching up with the Game Bakers, Audrey here, to talk about Furi. We are familiar with the game, but for those who are unfamiliar, what kind of game is Furi?
Well, Furi is all about one-on-one boss fights against, those opponents that are about the same size and scope as you, not giant monsters or hordes of minions. We just focus on those intense duels, right? So we have this crazy character design from Takashi Okazaki, the Afro Samurai director, and we're just gonna throw you into action against those boss fights one after another until your character reaches freedom again, which is looking for from the beginning.
And your role as a writer, you've sort of obviously built the world based on those designs and sort of tied everything together with the gameplay. What can you tell us of that process?
Well, that was really interesting because we had Takashi Okazaki from Afro Samurai who designed all the characters, right? And he had lots of ideas about the world and how it should be, and that character, we brief him to do it like that, but then he's going to change the gun or change that, and we're like, oh, okay, that's so cool, we have to have it in the game. So there was like this very iterative process with Emmerich, with the game design first and the gameplay first, and then Takashi, and then me, and then finally we emerged with that great idea that puts everything together and that is complete, consistent, and I hope it's going to be a great story for the players.
Could you outline it for us, what this world is and who these characters are?
Well, I can really just outline it, as you said, because this is really part of the game experience. We want people to remember that game, and I think for it to be memorable, you have to understand what's going on yourself and discover it along the way. But basically, you are this guy who's just been captured and tortured, and you realize, with the help of a rabbit mask character, that you have to get out of prison, and to get out of prison, you have to fight all those guardians who are trying to keep you inside. So you're just going to go from one jail world to another and fight those guys until you reach freedom. And on the way, you're going to kind of start to put together the reasons why you're here and why they really want you to be there. And also the game's going to ask some questions about freedom and what would you die for, basically.
That's interesting, but it sounds like you're taking a sort of indirect approach to narrative, that this is something that the player will have to sort of figure out in their own minds. Is that correct?
Absolutely, you're really spot on. That's about it. One of the direction I had when I was writing is just never say too much. The player is going to write his own story and he's going to put the pieces together and he's going to interpret it in his way and make decisions if he has to make decisions, but I'm not going to tell him exactly everything. Yeah.
There are a couple of ways you can approach that. You can approach that writing a story that's the correct one, that's your story, and that you hope that players may interpret, or you could write a little bit open-ended and actually leave sort of gaps there for interpretation that aren't decided really by yourself either. What kind of tack did you take?
I think you're spot on. We took the second one. We kind of left gaps and things that are not so clearly said, and the player can interpret it, and he can also bring his own vision into it, bring his own vision into the game. But I won't say too much because I don't want to say.
Let's not push it, all right. So in terms of development and so on and so forth, you're showing a second boss here at the mix. What can you tell us how things are progressing?
Well, the game is done. It's actually shipping early July. So we are finished now. We're just showing the two first bosses tonight. We saw that some people already saw the first boss, so it would be good to see another environment, a completely new, crazy design from Takashi, a new gameplay, a new experience, and also, finally, you can see what's happening in between those boss fights and how the story is going to unfold along the way. So that's why we're here with that.
And it's coming out on PC, PS4, Xbox One?
PlayStation and Steam, early July.
Okay, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.